It's a story of rivalries that have somehow got a little out of hand. Usually, having two football teams in the same place leads to competitiveness and fierce loyalties and a higher standard of football. But not always. Philip Tibenham reports.
Market's Field, it has to be admitted, is no Anfield or Main Road or Hampden Park. But it is unique. It has the distinction of being claimed as home by two professional soccer teams. Not that you'd guess it from the way the grass is growing. The reason for that is that for the past few weeks, Market's Field has seen no soccer of any sort.
And if that sounds Irish, it is. Market's Field, you see, is supposed to be the dynamic centre of professional soccer in Limerick in the Republic of Ireland. The snag is, the people here can't decide which of two teams actually represents the town.
In Limerick, as in the rest of the Irish Republic, soccer isn't the obsessional sport it is in parts of Britain. In fact, Limerick didn't have a proper soccer team until just before the war. It was and is called Limerick United. 2 or 3 seasons ago, they started to do rather well in the KFCLI. The initials, believe it or not, stand for the Kentucky Fried Chicken League of Ireland. The reason for the slightly eccentric title is this man. Pat Grace has gone from being a not-too-successful horse trader and door-to-door salesman to being a millionaire twice over. He always promised himself that when he'd made it, he'd have a big car, a house by the water, and his own full-size snooker table.
Oh, Jesus.
Things started to go right for Pat Grace when he met the legendary Colonel Sanders and was converted to the taste and the profit margin of the finger-licking good poultry. The turnover from his chain of shops is £4 million a year, out of which he sponsors the Irish League at £25,000 a season. Just lately, there's been a bit of a legal dust-up over the ingredients you're supposed to use in the batter that covers Kentucky Fried Chicken. Pat Grace lost a tussle in the High Court and was obliged to change the names on his shops and the Football League sponsorship. So the Irish competition now labours under the name of Pat Grace's famous Fried Chicken League of Ireland, which doesn't actually trip off the tongue.
Open.
Apart from funding the Fried Chicken League, Pat Grace also poured money into Limerick United. He paid the wages of the part-time professionals and spent over £40,000 on the ground.
Told you.
Although he'd spent over £200,000 on the club, he had almost no control.
Well done, well done.
The company they owned was in serious difficulty. They invited me to take over with a promise that they would give me total control. After I pay the bills, they don't want to give me control, nor do they want to pay me back what I've invested. It's as simple as that. They wanted two sides.
So a couple of months ago, taking the old players with him, he formed a new club, Limerick City, to replace United in the league.
3 days before the season was due to start, the old people in Limerick United went to the High Court and won an injunction. The league and Pat Grace were not allowed to do this. Limerick United had to be reinstated in the league.
So Limerick United had a court order saying that they were the official representatives of the town, but they didn't have any money and they didn't have any players. Not that they let that stand in the way.
Goalkeeper was a problem. It's hard to get goalkeepers. And they managed to get a guy who turned up 45 minutes before the match and insisted that his two pals who'd driven him to the match get a game as well.
We went into the highways and to the byways. We went into the public houses. We went everywhere to put a team on the field for one reason and one reason only, and that was to fulfil the fixture to ensure that League of Ireland football would continue in Limerick.
The real Limerick players, who incidentally turned out to picket one match played by the Blackleg United side, have been doing their best to stay out of pubs and keep fit. They now regard themselves as city players. No doubt the £50 a week Pat Grace is still paying them confirms them in this conviction.
I think before Pat Grace got involved in it, it wasn't run properly, bills weren't being paid, wages weren't being paid. It was just it wasn't being run properly at all. But when Pat did step in, things started to get a bit more professional and be run proper.
We've been talking to some of those players today, and they say there are occasions where they weren't even paid under your administration.
Well, that is true. That is definitely true. There have been times there when some of the players went a fortnight without their wages, and we cannot deny that.
This week, meetings of the Limerick United directors have gone on into the early hours of the morning, with some of them resigning in sheer exhaustion. But there's still no sign of a solution, or when Limerick City will get their first match.
It does look as though Limerick United eventually will give in and allow Pat Grace and his famous fried chicken back in to run the place as Limerick City. But the truly Irish thing about this story is why anybody would bother in the first place. Because whoever takes over this club is going to lose about £1,000 a week. That's an awful lot of fried chicken.